Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayantara, working from home. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated to startups, technology, innovation, disruption. If it's under the new economy, it's here every weekday at 6 p.m. on ET Now. Ever since the pandemic COVID-19, we've all thought that shared economy is never going to be the same. So if pre-COVID was all about asset light, shared economy, post-COVID world, will shared economy make a comeback? How many of you would be comfortable being in those cabs, working in those co-working spaces, living in those co-living spaces? Well, guess what? Today we're getting you a startup, Zolostays, which has raised $56 million during COVID-19. It's raised it as recently as last week. So Zolostays told us this, but we said, hey, how did that happen? How did you manage it? And why do investors like this startup? So we even got one of the investors that participated in Series C to join us for this interview together. So we try and understand, is this a case of investors feeling shared economy is going to make a comeback? So better act now. So joining me now is the co-founder and CEO of Zolostays, Nikhil Sikri, as well as Gaurav Sharma, the co-head for PE at Investcorp India. Nikhil, I'll come to you first. You must have done more than just smooth talking to get, during COVID-19, investors to part with $56 million. So at a time when it's all about increasing the cash runway, investors also being quite tight. What did you say? What did you pitch that they got convinced that co-living will make a comeback?
It's a long pitch, but I'll try to sum it up. Our fundamental belief in the co-living industry has not changed. In fact, if anything, it has sort of given us an edge over everybody else. This market is currently dominated by unorganized players who currently don't have the ability to serve the customer, maintain hygiene, safety, follow protocols, and even for that matter, generate demand. These days, people don't want to go from one place to another, to another, to another, to even find a place. So we have a strong edge on the demand side, on the operating side. And over the last 5 years, we have built beautiful relationships on our supply asset partners. In fact, we have the highest satisfaction index on the supply side in the market. So if you look at all the three core pillars of the business, which is demand, operation, and supply, we have a very high edge over everybody else right now. And COVID has actually substantially multiplied that edge rather than reducing it.
Okay, so let's go to the investor now. Gaurav, why did you invest in this startup? First of all, were you an existing investor? If not, why are you taking a position at all in the shared economy? If you were an existing investor, why do you want to increase your exposure?
Yeah, first of all, thanks, Nayantara, for having me. And yes, you're right. We were an existing investor. We came into Zolo around 18 months ago. So in that sense, we are very familiar with the capability that the management team led by Nikhil brings to the table, which is obviously very important for us as investors. But going back to your initial question as to why invest in co-living and a shared economy in these times of COVID-19, I think that's an important question. As Investcorp, we are a global alternatives asset manager, and this is literally the second deal which we've done globally across the US, Europe, or Asia. And the first deal was in cybersecurity and in Europe, and this is the second deal which we've done. I think there are 2 or 3 points, right? One, I think, like I said earlier, it's about execution, and we believe Zolo, being the number one player, will continue to actually expand and cement its number one position in India, even going along the way as well. And it's about backing our winners. We've seen Nikhil and the team perform in the last 18 months, which obviously gives us the comfort that they will continue to outperform the sector going forward as well. And the mega trend of urbanization in India, like we've seen in China, where it's 60% urbanized today, and India is at roughly 32%. I think the mega trend of urbanization is here to stay. we at Investcorp are backing that mega trend, and we think co-living, or what we call managed living services, providing conveniences to people who are coming in from smaller cities into the larger cities, looking for their first jobs in a Bangalore, Pune, Chennai, etc. That trend, irrespective of COVID or no COVID, is not going to is not going away anytime in the near future. So we're really backing on that trend, backing Zolo as a number one player in the space, and backing Nikhil in terms of the execution and the team in terms of execution on the ground. So with that, we felt very comfortable that yes, we can invest further into the company, and that's where we are. So $56 million is definitely going to help Zolo maintain its leadership position in the months to come.
Nikhil, what are you going to do with this $56 million? First of all, in all your co-living properties, pardon me for asking this, I have to ask you this. Is anyone even living there? What's going on? And what are you going to do with this $56 million?
First of all, Nayantara, there are actually a lot of people. In fact, almost 14,000 people have consistently lived in our spaces for the last 4 months. And we've been able to successfully serve them. We've been able to successfully follow. In fact, we are, you can say, perhaps the most safest place right now. I'm a doctor by education, and I think that knowledge and that education really came in handy. We were always ahead of the curve in terms of safety protocols. WHO announced pandemic in the 9th of March, if I'm not wrong, and we had started following all the safety protocols and hygiene protocols by 3rd of March itself. So we've kept us ahead of the curve. 14,000 people have been living. And people have really, really loved us, supported us, trusted us over the last 4 months. And we are seeing people coming back to Zolo as offices are resuming. So that's one part. Second is, how will we invest this money going forward? I think 3 broad segments where we are going to invest the money. Number one is technology. So we are a tech-first organization with a very massive focus on the tech stack. In fact, as Gaurav mentioned, that managed living is basically the umbrella under which student housing and co-living comes. So we have perhaps the most advanced tech stack for residential management, property management solution. That's one piece where the money will go. Second is locking in great inventory. So we are we are aggressive and fairly aggressive in locking in great supply right now, and we are launching a new brand extension called Zolo Red Carpet, which is basically the uber luxury way of living, where you would basically get everything which is there to manage a life under one roof: Zumba classes, wellness studios, gyms, conference rooms, working spaces, laundry, Wi-Fi, DTH, everything in press of a button. You press a button, everything else is sorted. So it's going to basically, and third is, as we expand, as we go further, we'll be hiring other teams as well. So these are the 3 broad categories where we'll be investing the money.
Gaurav, this is going to be my final question. Is this what impressed you about Zolostays? The fact that, it was looking at a post-COVID world. In the stock markets, for example, we're talking about, why is it a bull rally? I think Uday Kotak put it very, very beautifully, where he said the markets are not looking at this year. They're looking at the next year and the year after that. This year is totally discounted. They're projecting those earnings. Is that what you did? And is this also a way signaling that maybe we will see a comeback of the shared economy, or the very fact that you've got Zolostays looking at even luxury at the moment? Everybody's talking about going down the pyramid, and here's a startup wanting to talk about the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, see, you mentioned a few things, Nayantara. So yes, you're absolutely right. There will be a period of choppiness with lockdowns and what have you, which is happening in India as we speak, in Bangalore and Pune, etc. So we are obviously private equity. We are long-term investors. We are looking at the investment for the next foreseeable future. And in that, like I said earlier on, we feel leaders like Zolo will actually be able to increase the gap over their competitors. and you've seen this is across industries, like in a tough phase like what we're going through, the market leaders will actually have an advantage over some of the smaller competitors, because as investors, you would want to back, and it's always safer to back a market leader and the top, one or two player versus going down the pike and investing in the number 3 or number 4 player. So you will see that consolidation going forward, and we think that Zolo will benefit from that, which is why we've invested now. And there will be light at the end of the tunnel. We are obviously all hoping that happens sooner rather than later. But we are in a period of consolidation at Zolo right now. Like Nikhil said, this is the time where we can use to get extremely good and attractive economics on the new supply, on the new inventory, which is real estate as a sector is going to go through a tough phase. We should be able to lock in inventory, which is unsold inventory now and then in the next few months to come. That kind of opportunity would probably not have existed had COVID not happened. So that's what we're looking forward to. Make sure we both on the supply and demand side are continue to perceive as the number 1 player as Zolostays in India.
Nayantara, one point I'll make quickly in like 10 seconds. So Zolo is not just shared economy. We are like a lot of offerings are basically there is no room sharing in that. So it is as good as living in a home. Zolo is more about personalization and customization of your life and being managed by somebody else and managed hassle-free fashion. So sharing economy as such is an option which is available inside Zolo. We do enable that, but it is not what Zolo truly stands for. Truly stands for personalized managed living. So that's the reason customers are still choosing us. That's the reason customers are taking single rooms and living their life as peacefully as any time before.
14,000. Yeah, you've had 14,000 people, like you said, in your properties during the lockdown. Gentlemen, I want to thank both of you for joining us on this edition of Startup Central. There you go. Now you know why it is that co-living startup Zolostays was able to raise $56 million from the investor, and you know what Zolostays is going to do going forward with all of that cash as well. We'll take a short commercial break. On the other side, the toy business is no kids play, and our next guest should certainly know, a consultant at BCG turned entrepreneur, started a toy startup which also became the first brand from India that Hamley started selling globally. Been mentored by Amazon as well. Skillmatics coming up on the other side.